modernist architecture. So sadly, you know, it's not like a funny artistic project, but it really made sense not only for residents in real life, also for architects and others, which I think I never do like project that criticize the society. We always trying to find the solution that works for the benefit of all. This is a little timeline of the space where we are working, of the New West neighborhood. And not unlike here, this was farmland 50 years ago. And in 1934, very known architect, I think he was the head of SIAM at the time, Van Eastern, he made a beautiful utopian plan of modern neighborhood. This was 1934. Because of the Second World War, this was not realized. The building started in 1950s and 1960s. And there was, of course, no time to deal with social architecture. Everything was focused in architecture, like building buildings. And the public space stayed empty. And this in 70s was a happy coincidence because like open space meant open society. In the 80s, this became a little bit of a nightmare because the same space, the same open space started to mean no man's place. And then in the 90s, these open spaces started to be fenced off and increasingly privatized. For the project we were, so what you see here is the second image from the right side. You see this very Dutch invention. It's called visual green. It's cake green, as they call it. And the residents, they have to pay for maintenance of the space, but they are not allowed to enter the space. Then something else happened also. In 2004, the city realized they don't have enough money for maintenance of the green spaces, so they just gave green spaces to public corporations who are now running maintaining the space, but also visualizing it and think about its future. The new redevelopment that people are facing now is actually making everyone a total migrant. Everyone has to move out in circa, they tell you, in 3 years you have to move out. And of course, as in all these schemes, people who are poor, they cannot come back. What actually the project also, let's see, what the project taught us is that people want okay, let's see, to make it short. The project actually brought together many residents. Like we have in the garden, we have today 22 families that work in this community garden, but that come from 7 ethnic groups. This means that we are not talking into this ethnically pixelized society, but actually the project shows that people want to live together, but under a different social contract. We came to a new idea what it means and this community, and we call it geographic community. If I would describe it, I would say that it's not ethnic community, it's not virtual community. I would associate it with a community before modern period, with the neighborhood, in short. But what also the project showed is that people also want to redefine urban and rural coexistence. Like Kyung mentioned at first that we faced like a first migration when rural population moved to cities, what you also experienced in Korea. But now when everyone is in the city, actually what we are looking for is to redefine rural and urban coexistence. I'll talk about it a little bit later. So, of course, what did community garden do? In short, it reclaimed the fenced-off garden, but it also reclaimed the land, and this was very symbolic, or even you could say a ritualistic act. And it was all about the need of working together, of working in a community, but also about on working on the land. And in this way, the green became catalyst of change. And also, we acknowledge through the working with the green that the cities we are living in today are cities in transition, and they need new ideas, which I think is like social architecture. But before I go into more things, I just want to show you like what the green, a few examples of what the greens means. The green, let's say urban agriculture in cities was always associated in the past with a crisis mentality. We are looking here on the left side, you see a photo from 1943 in front of the parliament in Berlin. There is a community garden. On the right side, during approximately the same time, we have Eleanor Roosevelt's Victory Garden in front of the White House, where she had sheep and other stuff. And today, we face this amazing shift of perception when the community gardens are perceived as something totally desired for and utopian, and everyone loves it. On the left side you see edible gardens from California, on the right side it's a photo from our community garden. The community gardens, I would also like to say, they have a new role in the neighborhoods because they are based inside the neighborhood. They are not like allotments of Victory Gardens that are based outside, like in non-functional areas of the city, but actually they bring emphasis that indeed we desire strong neighborhoods, and community gardens are an expression of that. In community kitchen, which is located just next to the garden, we have it's a place for not only for cooking and meeting, but a lot of workshops and exchange of experiences and so on. In short, it's a community space, and it became highly successful, and so successful that groups in the neighborhood started to fight or to compete between each other who would like to have it after we who started to organize the project leave. This for me was very interesting, this idea of placemaking, because placemaking in these times of migration is actually very important. When you have to migrate, you have to actually take roots in a place, even if it's temporary. I think this is like a big lesson that we have to learn. So instead of what we learned from the project is instead of desiring to live in a neighborhood of 10,000 residents, people want to live in small neighborhoods, strong neighborhoods as they call it, which is also a sustainable neighborhood. And sustainable neighborhood, by the way, is the neighborhood that retains the poor. You could also say a very simple wisdom: if you relocate the poor, you just relocate the problem. So why not keeping the poor people in the neighborhood and to make sustainable neighborhood? Sustainability today is very much also about people, not only about energy resources, which is the buzzword.